Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. The stock market snaps a three-day losing streak. The sensex gaining over 800 points and Nifty reclaims 18,000. Banks and IT stocks lead the charge today. Government and LIC will eventually exit from IDBI Bank, says DPAM Secretary Tuhin Kanta Pandey. Adds the government has received multiple bids from both domestic and foreign investors. Sources say Prem Vatsa's Fairfax Group, Middle East banking giant NBD and private equity player CVC Capital are among the suitors. The Bombay High Court grants a 2-week bail to former ICICI Bank CEO Chanda Kochhar and her husband Deepak Kochhar in the Videocon loan fraud case. The court says the arrest was not in accordance with the law. Orders the Kochhars to cooperate with the investigation whenever summoned. Minority investors in Jet Airways stare at a complete wipeout in their share value after the Jalan Kolrak consortium takes over. The resolution plan document accessed by CNBC-TV18 shows public shareholding will drop from 25% to a mere 0.21%. Reliance Capital lenders to decide on a second round of e-auction after Torrent Investments and Hinduja Group sought to revise their bids. All four suitors, including may be allowed to bid in round 2. Meanwhile, the NCLT refuses to grant an urgent hearing to Torrent, seeking a stay on the lenders' reopening bids. Uttarakhand Joshimath declared a disaster-prone area after cracks appear in homes and roads, forcing authorities to evacuate scores of families. The state's Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami tells CNBC-TV18 80 families have been moved to a safe zone so far, at least 600 families impacted, and this number could possibly rise. The Delhi High Court hears a plea filed by Bharat Pay seeking a gag order on former MD Ashneer Grover. Observes that the two parties may have had a falling out but can extend a courtesy to each other. The court allows Ashneer to red flag leaks to media. Public comments by Bharat Pay. Ashneer Grover's lawyer has said that he will advise Ashneer to exercise some restraint. Train and flight operations face disruptions as North India continues to shiver. Over 100 trains were cancelled due to dense fog, leading to poor visibility. Over 300 flights reportedly delayed to and from Delhi airport. Hundreds of Bolsonaro supporters arrested after storming Brazil's congressional building, the Supreme Court and presidential palace in the capital. Protesters allege the presidential elections in which veteran leftist leader Lula da Silva emerged victorious were rigged despite a lack of evidence. President Lula said that his predecessor triggered the riot. Well, let's start with the day's market action. Dalal Street snapping a 3-day losing streak. We saw the sensex gain over 800 points today, getting back above the 60,000 mark. The Nifty gained nearly 250 points, reclaiming 18,000. Positive global cues boosting sentiment. Banks and IT stocks led the rally. Sonia joins us now to wrap up the markets for us. Sonia.
Well, thanks for that. It was a strong start to the week on the back of a positive handover that we got from across the globe and a fall in crude that led to an equity market pullback. The Nifty closed with gains of almost 250 points, while the Sensex went up over 700 points, and the Nifty closed above that crucial 100-day moving average of 17,900. It was technology stocks that led the rally today. TCS closed higher by about 3% ahead of its earnings, while M&M was up 3% after the management said that they are looking to become a #1 player in the SUV market. Apart from that, stocks like Bharti Airtel as well led from the front today as CLSA raised the target price on Bharti to 1,040 rupees, and metal stocks like GSPL hit the fresh 52-week high as well. On the flip side, you had Titan that was under pressure post the Q3 business update, while Bajaj Finserv continues to be under pressure as well. All in all, good start to the week. The Nifty ending closer to the high point of trade and above the 100-day moving average. Back to you.
Sonia, many thanks for joining us. Now, the big newsmaker this evening, the DPAM Secretary Tuhin Kanta Pandey said that the government and LIC will eventually want to exit from IDBI Bank. Speaking exclusively to Sapna Das, Pandey said multiple domestic and foreign investors have expressed their interest in IDBI Bank. Sources tell us Prem Vatsa's Fairfax, Middle East banking giant NBD and private equity player CVC Capital have thrown their hat into the ring. The DPAM Secretary said the due diligence of the expressions of interest could take the next 3 to 4 months, after which the government will call for financial bids. Here's the Secretary speaking to CNBC-TV18 Sapna Das in this exclusive interview.
Well, I think the transaction advisor he has advised that there's been good response.
You know, at least at our end, we can safely assume that at least 3 and more bids have come in. And again, in terms of the potential sectors which are represented, mainly banks, non-banks, or is it a healthy mix?
After the initial bids come in, there is a question of checking the bids and the papers, which the transaction advisor does. Also, there is a fit and proper in this case involved right in the beginning with the RBI, and accordingly, I think they will be submitting papers to the qualified ones will be submitting papers to the RBI. And this is a bank. I think it's more like in the nature of financial information and accounting information, not in terms of as much on the physical aspects. But nevertheless, I think 3 to 4 months is the minimum time which is required for due diligence process. Both LIC and government do not intend to stay on there. It's only an interim arrangements that we are there as a financial investor, both in terms of the size of the transaction that it would mean, also because of the upside that we might like to take it in post disinvestment. Okay. So in both cases, I think both LIC and government, they would like eventually to exit in a time frame which will be defined in future.
Well, that is the DPAM Secretary on the interest for IDBI Bank. Remember, the expressions of interest are in, and due diligence will now take another 3 to 4 months, as per the Secretary. Big names like Prem Vatsas, Fairfax and others have put in their EOIs, is what we are given to understand. That is, of course, source-based information. Now, the Bombay High Court has granted a 2-week interim bail to former ICICI Bank CEO Chanda Kochhar and her husband Deepak Kochhar in the Videocon loan fraud case. The court has pulled up the investigating authorities, terming the arrest illegal. However, the court has told the Kochhars to appear before the authorities whenever they are summoned. Yash is standing by with details of the court's order. Yash, relief coming in for the Kochhars.
Well, that's correct. Big relief. Chanda Kochhar, former ICICI Bank CEO, and her husband Deepak Kochhar will be released after a court, that is the Bombay High Court, today said that their arrest, which was made last month, was illegal. This is a big relief, as I said, coming from the Bombay High Court just before the wedding of the Kochhar's son. On January 15th, the Central Bureau of Investigation had made this particular arrest on essentially December 23rd in a case linked to quid pro quo and irregularities in a 3,000 crore loan case which was given to the Videocon group, where the allegation was, as I said, quid pro quo and various irregularities. The court observed that the reason stated by CBI for Chanda Kochhar and Deepak Kochhar's arrest was essentially not correct. In fact, going to the extent of saying it was illegal, but there are certain conditions which have been levied by the Bombay High Court as far as this particular release, the 2-week bail, is concerned. Essentially, the court has said that both, that is Chanda Kochhar and Deepak Kochhar, will have to pay a bail money of 1 lakh rupees each. Also, they will have to comply with the agency whenever the agency summons any of them during this particular bail period of 2 weeks.
Yash, many thanks for joining us. Another exclusive this evening. Jet Airways public shareholders are staring at a wipeout in their share value after their stake in the company declines to 0.21%. This according to the approved resolution plan document, which has been accessed by CNBC-TV18. The Jalan Kalrock Consortium has proposed to reconstitute public shareholding from the current 25% to 0.21%, resulting in an almost complete wipeout of the current market value of holdings of public shareholders. Madiha standing by to explain what this means. Madiha, break this down for our viewers. What happens now to public shareholding once the takeover happens, if it finally happens?
Shireen, you are right. It's going to be a wipeout of market value for public shareholders. At least that's what I gathered after going through this extensive and exhaustive resolution plan document. According to this document, here's what happens after the Jalan Kalrock Consortium takes over the airline, and the proposed shareholding pattern looks like this. Promoters will get 89.7% of equity after the takeover happens.
bankers, the assenting financial creditors, they will get 9.5% of equity. Remember, lenders have taken a whopping 95% haircut in this resolution plan, and the share in equity is what they had settled at in return of that massive haircut. There's something for employees and workmen as well. They will get 0.5% equity after the takeover. But here's what happens to public shareholders. Currently, public shareholders own about 23% in the 800 crore rupee market cap company. After the reconstitution exercise, their holding will drop to a mere 0.21%, erasing almost entirely the value of their shares. The plan also proposes that the resolution applicant will restore public shareholding to 10% within 18 months and to 25% within 3 years.
Right, Madhya, many thanks for joining us with the details. We will, of course, keep coming back to you as we get closer to understanding what is the plan now as far as Jet Airways is concerned. Now to our budget countdown. With India's current account deficit ballooning to a 9-year high of $36.4 billion, we learned from sources that the Finance Ministry could announce some measures in the upcoming budget to curb the current account deficit. Timsy joins us now with details. Timsy, we had previously reported that the Commerce Ministry had sought information from line ministries on what could be done to bring down the non-essential imports. What is the Finance Ministry thinking of as well?
Well, when it comes to current account deficit and the upcoming budget, what we are given to understand is that the budget could announce measures to curtail the increasing current account deficit. For that matter, Finance Minister will actually acknowledge, that is what sources are indicating in her budget speech as well, that there is a need to curb current account deficit, and for this, India is going to lay down a detailed roadmap. What we are also picking up as to what could be the measures that could be part of this roadmap, well, what is on the drawing board right now is hiking import duties wherever there is a need, cracking down on imports, circumventing country of origin norms. That is something that India has been working upon for the last 2 years at least. Also ensuring cheaper fertilizer imports, because fertilizer import bill is something that India is likely to curb. India is looking at cracking a few more deals internationally to ensure that they import the raw material for fertilizers at a cheaper rate. And not to forget, possible expansion of PLI schemes. ROTEP, remember, has already been expanded. 3 new sectors have been added. So that could be another area, because that is going to boost our exports. So to curb imports, we are looking at expanding exports. That is also one major step that India is looking at. Also focusing on beneficial FTAs, what could be in offering, and how India can actually take more benefit out of FTAs rather than losing. And not to forget, the import curbing or discouragement of imports of non-essential items across sectors. That is a list that has been drawn already, and that will be finalized and put forward in the budget. So let's see what exactly and finally Finance Minister has to say when she announces her budget on 1st of Feb.
Right, Timsy, many thanks for joining us. Now, a day after Air India's CEO Campbell Wilson expressed regret over the urination incident, Tata Sons chairman N. Chandrasekaran has expressed anguish at what happened. The Tata Sons chief also admitted that Air India's response should have been much swifter, and that the airline fell short of addressing the situation the way that it should have been. He also added that the Tata Group and Air India stand by the safety and well-being of passengers and crew with full conviction. He's promised to review and repair every process to prevent or address any incidents of such unruly nature. Shares of Vodafone Idea hitting a 52-week low on day 1 of the week's trading session as investors are cautious over the company's financial health. Remember, CNBC-TV18 reported last week that the SBI-led consortium is unwilling to give fresh loans to the telecom operator till promoters infuse more funds. The company had approached banks seeking emergency loans aggregating to 7,000 crore rupees, a bulk of which was to be used to pay dues of Indus Towers. The Delhi High Court hearing a plea filed by Bharat Pay seeking a gag order on former MD Ashneer Grover. The court has observed that the two parties may have had a falling out, but they can extend the courtesy to each other. The court has allowed Grover to red flag leaks to media. Public comments made by Bharat Pay. Ashneer Grover's lawyer has said that he will advise Grover to exercise some restraint. Onto the race for Reliance Capital. Lenders will be taking a call on a second round of e-auction after Torrent Investments and Hinduja Group sought to revise their bids. Ritu joins us now with the latest. Ritu.
That's right. The lenders to Reliance Capital are actually voting on a proposal to allow a second round of e-auction for the company in a bid to avoid a legal wrangle and also to secure better offers, because two of the interested suitors, that is Hinduja and Torrent, had sought to tweak or revise their bids after the conclusion of the first round of bidding. Now, we understand that this time around the base bid could be set at 9,500 crores in net present value terms, which would include a minimum cash component of 8,000 crore rupees. However, if the second round does happen, it's not just Torrent and Hinduja, but all four of the original suitors would be allowed to participate, which also includes Oaktree as well as the consortium of Piramal and Cosmia. Now, the results of the voting are likely to be declared only later this week. Meanwhile, Torrent had moved the NCLT seeking a stay on the lender's proposal to conduct another round of e-auction, but Torrent did not get any urgent relief in the matter, and the court will next hear the case on the 12th of January. Now, remember, in the first round, Torrent had emerged as the highest bidder with an offer of 8,640 crores, but Hinduja later revised its bid to about 9,000 crores, and Torrent had objected to this and got an interim stay from NCLT, but the final orders are still awaited. Torrent also later tweaked its bid to offer the entire sum as upfront cash to lenders. So now, if the COC approves the second round of auction and there are no legal hurdles, the process will have to start afresh.
More than 600 families in the small town in Uttarakhand of Joshimath are staring at an uncertain future. Cracks have appeared in homes and roads, forcing authorities to evacuate people. Reports of such cracks in the Uttarakhand town infrastructure were first reported in 2021 after landslides took place in the district of Chamoli. All 9 municipal wards of Joshimath have now been declared as landslide subsidence zones. The district administration is distributing necessary assistance for funds for essential household items to the affected families. Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami said 80 families have been moved out to safety so far. Locals blame NTPC's projects in the area for causing the ecological imbalance, but NTPC has denied the allegations. Santya Gora spoke exclusively to Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami on the action taken by the government and the way forward.
जो पहले हुआ है उसे भी अनदेखा नहीं कर सकते। जोशीमठ के लोगों की अगर बात करें, उनका कहना है कि नवंबर 2021 में पहली बार उन्होंने वो दरक देख ली थी, पानी का रिसना देख लिया था। तब से उन्होंने स्थानीय प्रशासन के चक्कर काटे, सीएम आवास के भी चक्कर काटे, बट उनका कहना है, जो समिति बनाई गई है जोशीमठ बचाओ समिति, उनका कहना है कि उन्हें कहीं खड़ा भी नहीं होने दिया गया। उनकी बात सुनना तो बहुत दूर की बात है। नवंबर 2021 की बात है ये, तब से वो कोशिश कर रहे हैं। पूरे 2022 में उन्होंने कोशिश करी, ऐसा उनका कहना है। अब हम लोग 2023 में हैं, तो क्यों राज्य सरकार ने उस वक्त ध्यान नहीं दिया? शायद स्थिति इतनी गंभीर होने से पहले लोगों को हम लोग इवैक्यूएट कर पाते।
नहीं, देखिए, अभी इस प्रकार के प्रश्न उठाने से मैं समझता हूँ कोई वो नहीं है। अभी तो इस समय हमारी सबकी प्राथमिकता ये होनी चाहिए। मैं उन समिति के लोगों से भी मिला था और सभी से हमने कहा कि अभी सब लोग एक टीम भावना के रूप में आकर अभी काम करें। बाकी जो इसका विश्लेषण है वो हम लोग स्थिति ठीक हो जाए, सब लोगों को हम बचाव कर पाएँ, उसके बाद हम स्थितियों का विश्लेषण करेंगे। और ये केवल जोशीमठ शहर ही नहीं, अभी जोशीमठ की घटना आई है, लेकिन जोशीमठ के साथ साथ जितने भी इस प्रकार के शहर बसे हुए हैं, सभी का देखना पड़ेगा कि कितना वेट इसमें धारण हो सकता है।
अच्छा, आपके हिसाब से जो आप लोगों ने अब तक सर्वेस कराए होंगे, और ऐसे कौन से शहर हैं जो अब आप लोग ध्यान देंगे उन शहरों पे?
नहीं, जहाँ पर भी देखे एक जो क्षमता होती है उस शहर की, और हम सभी शहरों की क्षमता का आकलन करवाएंगे। इस घटना के बाद हम ये एक हमारे लिए एक आगे के लिए पार्ट भी है। और जहाँ भी ज़्यादा कंस्ट्रक्शन हो चुका है, जिस शहर की जितनी क्षमता है उससे अगर ज़्यादा हो गया है तो हम उस सभी को रोकेंगे अभी।
सर, बात दरअसल ये है कि सरकारें चाहे किसी भी पार्टी की हों, वादा करती हैं, लेकिन जब उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने की बारी आती है तो वहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम, वहाँ तक दिक्कत वहाँ आ जाती है। अब देखिए, मैं अगर बहुत पीछे जाऊँ तो 2013 के फ्लैश फ्लड्स की बात कर लेते हैं। उसके बाद भी उस वक्त भी बहुत दावे उस वक्त की सरकार ने किए थे। अब मैं आपकी सरकार की बात कर लूँ, पिछले साल भी जो एवलांच आया था, उस टाइम पर भी एक्सपर्ट्स ने बड़ी सारी सलाह दी थी। कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्क को सोच समझ के किया जाए, ये बार बार पिछले कई सालों से एक्सपर्ट्स कह रहे हैं। लेकिन चाहे आपकी सरकार हो, चाहे आपसे पहले की सरकारें हों, कोई भी इस पर ध्यान देता हुआ फिलहाल उत्तराखंड में नज़र नहीं आ रहा है, क्योंकि एक्सपर्ट्स रिपोर्ट दे चुके हैं कि कितनी बार मना करने के बावजूद भी कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्क ना सिर्फ चल रहा है, बल्कि बढ़ता भी जा रहा है। और ये खतरा और भी जगहों को हो रहा है उत्तराखंड में।
नहीं, देखिए, ये कहना बिल्कुल गलत होगा कि सरकारें इस पर ध्यान नहीं दे रही। हम लगातार एक बात मैं कहता रहा हूँ।
तो जोशीमठ के लोग कह रहे हैं कि उनकी बात पे ध्यान नहीं दिया गया 1 साल तक।
मैं आपकी बात का जवाब दे रहा हूँ। देखिए, इस प्रकार की चीज़ें कहना ठीक नहीं है, और ये इसको इतना ज़्यादा वो करने की आवश्यकता भी नहीं है कि हम हमेशा से कहते आए हैं कि इकोलॉजी और इकोनॉमी दोनों का संतुलन हो। और स्थानीय लोगों की वहाँ पर चूँकि सीवरेज का काम होना है, काम बीच में रोका गया, वहाँ पर जो है जो हमारा ड्रेनेज का काम होना है वह काम भी हमने तत्काल रूप से करवाने का भी निर्णय लिया है। जो भी चीज़ें उसके लिए खतरे की हैं या जिन कारणों से ये हो रहा है, मैंने कहा कि अभी कह पाना जल्दबाजी होगा कि किन कारणों से आया है। एक बार रिपोर्ट आएगी तो उस पर हम लोग पूरी तरह से सख्ती से काम करेंगे।
Well, that is Pushkar Singh Dhami, the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand state authorities have banned all construction activity in and around Joshimath. Santya Gora reporting from Joshimath, and she found that construction activity just a few kilometers away from Joshimath continues despite the ban. Take a look.
Right now, Team CNBC-TV18 is barely 11 kilometers away from Joshimath, a town where cracks are there in over 600 houses, a town which, according to the residents, is sinking. And experts are saying that this is a result of a condition called land subsidence. Now, when this issue came to light, state government issued an order and instructed that all construction work in and around Joshimath should be immediately stopped, should be immediately halted. But we are 11 kilometers away from the main area where the cracks are there in Joshimath, and this is what is happening. You can see this is a construction activity, full-fledged construction activity which is happening right now. Now, I would like to clarify that this is not some sort of a road clearance activity which is absolutely necessary. That's not the case. You can see that this is a proper construction work which is going on, which doesn't even fall under the category of necessary mandatory construction work. And you can, of course, see the JCBs are working, the stone crushers are working. We tried to figure out that who exactly, what kind of a construction work is happening and who is responsible for this, but we couldn't figure out that. We didn't get an answer. Now, CNBC-TV18 spoke to the CM of the state, Mr. Pushkar Singh Dhami, and he also assured us that how state government is doing everything in order to ensure that the situation doesn't become worse. But you can clearly say that an absolutely important order which was issued by the state government, you can see that this is a clear-cut violation of that. And as far as government trying to ensure that the situation doesn't become worse, you can see that there's nobody from any government authority to ensure that the people involved follow the instructions issued by the state government. And I would like to repeat that we are barely 11 kilometers away from Joshimath, and according to state government, no construction work should happen in and around Joshimath. But here, barely 11 kilometers away from the center point, you can see heavy construction work which is going on right now. In Uttarakhand, with camera person Lakshman Singh, this is Santya for CNBC TV18.
Santya Gura there reporting from Joshimath. And before we wrap, Prime Minister Modi inaugurated the 17th edition of the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas in Indore. He called the Indian diaspora brand ambassadors of the nation.
मैं आप सभी को, सभी प्रवासी भारतीयों को विदेशी धरती पर भारत का राष्ट्रदूत, ब्रांड एम्बेसडर कहता हूं। सरकारी व्यवस्था में राजदूत होते हैं, भारत की महान विरासत में आप राष्ट्रदूत होते हैं।
And with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. Thanks very much for watching. Stay tuned. The news continues here on CNBC TV18.